In our next session, we have a one-on-one fireside chat. We're going to be looking at the 120 million person audience that the fintech ecosystem may have overlooked. Now, when we're talking about startups and hip companies, they are often rushing to find all those hip, young, engaged audiences. However, older people are often left out of this. And older people need fintech as well. They need insurance, they need safe financing, capital investment, bank offers, and it's often very difficult for those people to engage this market, and often fintech companies just look right past them, even though they potentially have a lot of finance available to offer. To talk, and our moderator on this topic is Vaiva Amule, and she leads Fintech Hub here in Lithuania, and in her previous role, she was part of the team that developed and set the national strategy for Lithuania when it comes to fintech. Vaiva, how are you today?
Hello, thank you for a very lovely introduction. Very well today.
Good.
It's a pleasure to be here.
It is nice. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's start the fireside chat.
Thank you, Louis, for a nice introduction. It's very nice, a huge pleasure to be here. And with me, I have Sandra Goldbrecht, who is an impressive woman, I would say. She's a mentor in different organizations. She's a woman in tech, and also the CEO and co-founder of Baltic Sandbox Accelerator. Hi, Sandra.
Hi, and thank you for the nice introduction. It's a pleasure to be here.
So let's start. So the fintech is booming, yeah. The numbers are growing, and all people around us in Lithuania talk about that. And we are getting more capital into the fintech ecosystem. Looks healthy and stable, but is there something missing?
Well, yeah, probably I would say. So imagine how fintech startups are building their services, right? What is the target audience that they have in mind? They're probably looking at someone who is from 20 to 40, who would be actively using different types of digital services, apps, phones, computers, and everything. However, in Soviet Union, we have 117 million of people who are senior citizens. It's more than 20% of the whole population now. And this generation, I think they're the richest generation of seniors ever. I mean, baby boomers, they're having 50%, up to 50% wealth in different European Union and UK countries. They're having housing. Up to 50% of housing belongs to them. And what they actually don't have, they don't have digital services. Surprise, surprise, because when different types of investment apps, different types of banking apps, different types of credit, loans, and everything are looking at their target audience, they completely ignore those people because they don't consider them to be some sort of interesting target audience anymore. They're some sort of a burden.
Okay, so I guess we're talking about digital exclusion here, but well, don't you think, I don't really see the problem here. I mean, they all have access to the same access as everyone else to the digital solutions, to different apps. Why can't they just use these?
Well, probably like two things here. So first of all, it's overly complicated it's sometimes when I'm looking at the banking app, seriously, it's overly complicated even for me. Not to mention that those people, they're not using digital services at all because digital services aren't built according to their needs. There are a lot of things that they don't understand. There are certain behavioral patterns that they already have. And when you're 65, it's pretty much complicated to change behavior. So they won't be adapting for those apps. Those apps should be adapting for them. And there is a huge economical power and reasoning in it. I mean, take any of the traditional bank that has a lot of offices. Who would be most of the people that you would see in the office of the bank? They would be senior citizens. just because they can't use the app. So basically, you have all those employees, you have all those offices to rent, you spend all this money instead of actually building something that can help those people to do the same things online. I mean, I can do it online, meaning that the person who is 25 years older than me would be probably doing this online as well if it was adapted for this person. And by adaptation, I mean really, really many different things. The functionality that looks normal to this person, the size of the font. I mean, literally, sometimes I can see what is there in the app. How do we expect people of like age 65 and older to see this? And also security. I mean, they don't trust those apps. They don't trust those internets, and they don't know what's secure, what's not.
So, as I understood, the problem could be solved by creating the new phones or coming back to the Nokia version, which majority of our grandmas have or had, just with access to the internet. I mean, the accessibility, at least in Lithuania and probably in the whole Europe, is of the internet is quite good. So I see that there is two things. So adapting the services and the products, and also I would say financial literacy, because the people, I mean, they're not using them because they don't understand them, because as you said, they don't trust it. So what do you think is needed to be done by the government, probably by the municipalities, so these problems are solved and these people could use these services? Or do you think that the companies should do
So
that?
Well, I think it's the mixture of both because, those senior citizens that don't trust these companies, the startups already. So nothing would change until, for example, the municipalities will jump in with some extra education on financial literacy, on different digital types of things, on actually on the security and cybersecurity, because it's very important. We see a lot of cases when a lot of cases of frauds, which is specifically attacking the senior citizens because they don't actually know things, they don't understand things. They kind of, when they get in the call from the bank, they believe that it's an actual call from the bank, not a call from some fraudsters or something. And that's definitely about literacy. And on the other hand, well, you are the head of this fintech hub, right? So if you're talking to regular, I mean, startups or companies and ask them about your target audience, uh, do you think that they will even ever think of, oh, there are people who are 65 plus and they actually need our services as well?
Well, probably they don't. Because they just all targeting all these youngsters, I would say. Majority of them are targeting the youngsters. So I think the mindset also need to be changed there too. But I mean, I always like to talk about the practical, action points, what can be done. So maybe we first should create some kind of app for the older people. So if they get the call from the fraudster, they would get notified in some way, and that will, create the first impression that the fintech is safe. They're already helping them, and only then we could adopt the services. And of course, the payments are probably one of the services which could be adapted, so they could pay for the bills. Then the second one probably is the insurance. So the insurance products, just to kind of insure the house. Do you see any other products or services which could be adapted to them?
Yeah, sure. I mean, what's happening with people that like after 60, from 65 to, for example, 85, people are still living their active lives. And they don't want to be treated like, someone who is old and going to die at the cemetery, like in the next like couple of years or something. They want to travel. They want to do business. They want to be entertained. They want like proper retirement 2.0 with education and things like this. So, for example, if we're talking about doing business, so there is this senior who decided, like, who retires and decided to open a coffee shop or something. And this person is going to the bank and asking for the loan to open a coffee shop. And then imagine the banking algorithms, they're calculating the portrait of this person. And according to these algorithms, like actuary models, this person should already be on the cemetery. I mean, the algorithms don't even understand how this person is still alive. And they're saying, like, excuse me, no, but you don't exist, like, and you won't be existing for the next like 10 to 15 years. That's one case. Other case is everyone is complaining about economy going down during the crisis and everything, but those people, they have piles of money, and they're not investing them just because there are no investment products for them. They're just sitting on this money, like waiting. Yeah, probably okay. So I have enough money till the day like I die, and then I can also that would be will, and I'll leave some money to my kids and grandkids. But those money are not working. Those money are in the parts of the economy. So any products that would allow senior citizens to invest in something that is actually working and that is actually bringing more money to them in supporting the economy or some sort of community economy, that would be amazing.
And as I know, the Baltic Samog is working in this area. Could you maybe give some examples from other countries how they solve this issue? Maybe someone already created some kind of products or started to kind of innovate in this area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually pretty much interesting, because we started working with this senior tech, silver tech acceleration program a year ago. And for a year, we were doing the researches and we were trying to figure out what's happening in the area. So we figured that United States and, for example, Israel and Japan, they're far ahead of us. They have all these products on the markets. Those products are like unicorns, making money and everything. And then we looked at Europe. And literally almost nothing is happening in Europe. I think it's the part also of some sort of mentality, perception of senior citizens, when we are looking at them. Yeah, okay, so probably they need to be cared of. We need to create some medical products or something. And when we started speaking to angel investors who are investing in this area, like in Europe, here in Lithuania, they all said like, yeah, senior citizens. So what you are trying to build is some sort of, the program for the apps who are doing some charity. And we were like, why charity? Wait, they have all the money in their hands. They just don't have like somewhere to spend it. And literally, we've seen a lot of startups trying to do something in very different spheres. So in our program now, we have startups from UK, from Spain, from Italy, from Lithuania, by the way, as well, like Estonia and other countries. And they are building very, very, simple products. For example, the products where the local communities can organize events for the senior citizens, different types of events, physical events, so they could go and join together in the book club or somewhere else. And there is an app where relatives can book these events and pay the local communities for this. I mean, it's such a simple thing, but it just doesn't exist over there. And then things like, for example, fitness app for seniors. I mean, if you do yoga, you go to App Store and you see like thousands of app offering you yoga and things like this. And then you start looking about some yoga for seniors, and you see, like amazing women with gray hair trying to show you, how to do some yoga. But like, let's be realistic. Those people, they're not after, this very exquisite postures. If they were able to raise their hand, it's like, I think it's an achievement. So when and same with the financial services. Oh, okay, so senior people, they don't understand investments. They should invest in like pension funds. So probably they should come to the bank and talk to their investment manager and put some money in the pension funds or something like this. That don't have the best performance in terms of like as an investment asset, let's say. So this a lot of things that are just like huge blue ocean, 117 million of customers waiting for something to happen for them. That's how I would describe this one.
So as far as I know, in Lithuania, they've been dealing with it. In Lithuania, the seniors or those who are not living in the cities don't have access to the ITMs anymore because it's not profitable for the banks to have a ITM who is used once a month. So it's normal that they close them. So now the whole European Union is saying that they should get the access to the cash. But I think what you are saying, and I totally agree with you, is that instead of giving them the access to the cash, we should give them the access to financial services, the digital ones, so they could use them wisely. But at the same time, they need to be adapted for them, so they understand what they are doing. And so of course, some kind of education should be done. So, and I'm sure that these people will be willing to change something in the lab because now they're bored, especially due to the COVID. Majority probably of, at least from my surroundings, majority start using the social network or different, or generally the computer. They call through the Skype or Facebook to the grandkids and to the kids. So what can be done in this way? Maybe by us, the youngsters, so these people are not left alone.
Well, first we should start actually seeing them, because now they're invisible. I mean, when we're thinking about like building this new amazing startups and services, who do we think about? We think about the target audience, which is our age. And if we're looking at the younger generation, like, I mean, startup founders, 25, 30, when they hear 65, they immediately imagine like people, who are sitting on the sofa and like slowly dying. And then I talk to my target audience. I talk to these people, and they say like, we don't want to be cared of, like, get out. We want to date, we want to travel, we want to kind of see people around us. And then imagine Tinder, right? So if you're 65, you're probably not looking for a one-night stand. You're probably looking for some sort of companionship. I don't know if you ever tried to find the companionship on Tinder, but if you did,
it's not easy.
I can imagine. I can imagine the result. But those senior citizens, they're not. They're not startup founders. They definitely won't be developing some apps for themselves. However, sometimes they do. I've seen several founders who are 60 and 65 who are basically developing the service for themselves because they don't understand like what's happening out there. But I think we should kind of change the mindset of the younger generation. Just like talk to them and tell them, look, there is a huge pile of paying audience there, loyal audience. This audience is actually very loyal because they're not switching from app to app. They are not youngsters. And you can have this audience and you can kind of sell your financial services, whatever is the startup that you do. And the only thing that you need basically to do is to kind of reach out to this audience and ask them about it. Like, okay, is it convenient for you if we did like this? How do you approach, for example, investing in different things? What do you need and what is that you don't need? And just build a service for them.
Mm-hmm. So I think, we do have communities in different villages and towns and smaller cities. So I guess we should start from there, just kind of to raise the awareness. I guess that's what you do now, and what we are doing together now is just raising the awareness that these people are rich, and I guess even for the economy of Lithuania and the European Union, and it would be much better if that cash in the socks, as we say in Lithuania,
Yes.
would be employed in some way. And it's probably even better for the families too. So they now, as far as I know, like when you need to go and buy the drugs, for example, they just go to the pharmaceutical, and they just buy, usually with the cash. But in nowadays, they could buy it online without going, and in this way, save themselves from the situation we are currently having. At the same time, it's probably the same with investment, as we say, the same with insurance. And it's often that they don't even go because some of them are not able to go, or it's hard for them to, to move around. But they could still have a consultation with a video with a doctor and pay online for the services. It's just the matter that these services are not yet kind of suitable for them or not created yet. You also mentioned that there's, the Japan and America and even probably UK is it's kind of a bit better in this area. Do you have some examples, like specific examples, how we do that? I think it would be very, get the best experience from there.
Yeah, I definitely do have some examples. And the most interesting thing is that the best of the best, I mean, those who are basically unicorns, they weren't trying to change the behavior of the seniors. They were trying to adapt the products for the needs of the seniors. So, for example, United States, they built an app which is called Uber for Seniors. Like, I mean, very special taxi service. I mean, what can you invent in 2020s about Uber or something? But they actually did. So how do senior citizens use the taxi? They call. Normally, they pick up the phone and they call. So basically, they built some sort of Uber where senior citizens are calling the taxi literally, and then there is artificial intelligence talking to them, and then the taxi is coming. Like same Uber platform based on calls. And they were purchased after several years of working, they were purchased by 100 million or 200 million, don't remember, and now they're unicorn. And other services, pretty much similar to this one, for example, education. And senior people want to be educated. I mean, they kind of it helps their mental health. Mental health is increasing physical health. They need something to do because they spend a lot of time just doing nothing literally because they're not working anymore. They're not occupied and everything. But look at those kind of platforms over there. What senior citizens can learn? Can they go to Udemy or other platforms like this? No, because most of the things are pretty much useless for them. First of all, half of it they actually know with their experience and the background, and half of it they probably don't need and they're not interested. Not to mention that it's very different. I mean, they also don't trust these young people, the guy who is 25 teaching you how to use things and everything. No. So they build a platform where seniors are teaching seniors. So there is this guy and he's 65 and he's explained some topic. Also, by the way, they're earning money from the brands by they are collecting a group of senior citizens and tell them, today I'm going to teach you how to use this banking app. So here is a banking app, here is how I can use it. And it's a huge trust because, okay, this is the person from my age group. And definitely if this person can do it, I can do it as well. Also, it's a very different form and type of education, everything. I mean, the way they talk, the things they talk about. So senior citizens are entertained, senior citizens are learning new things. And I mean, it's simple, right? It's not something it's not an invention that is going to change the world dramatically. It's just simple thing. Seniors want to learn from seniors. Okay, we're building this platform where they can learn from each other.
Wonderful. Another quite significant topic, I would say, is the cyber attacks or the calls from to the seniors, and I think this is the target audience for the fraud, and they are losing quite a lot of money. What would be your approach? Is it better just to kind of educate them about that, or should we just using the technologies, try to kind of stop this from the beginning, or maybe both?
Yeah, well, I think on the firstly, we definitely should protect seniors by using the technologies and everything, because I mean, those guys who are committing frauds, they will be always a couple of steps ahead. because the types of the fraud is changing, the technology is changing, everything is changing. And like if we what we can tell to senior citizens, we can tell them like don't trust anything on internet. Then how does it make sense to kind of to make them digitally included? I mean, my grandma, she's 87, she's using internet actively, she's like from her phone and everything, and she sees, you know, all these ads all the time, like free, we're going to give you something for free, or things like this, or like win something or do something. And she's kind of, oh yeah, kind of, I should try this, I should try to order this or something, because it's written there, it's free, it like can be something lying or something like this. So in I can't prevent every single case, and I mean, and the fraudsters would probably call her, ask for her passwords and everything. And I mean, if they tell you, for example, someone is trying to break your bank account, and we're here to protect it, we're calling you from the bank, and they know her name and everything, what like she would say, yes, sure, like I'll give you like the numbers, I'll help you to protect my account. So I think it's first of all the duty of the cybersecurity experts, people who are working in fintech, like fintech community, cybersec community, to protect those seniors, and also educate them a little bit. But you know, if there is a free gift for you on the internet, probably you would try to go after this anyway.
But I guess the situation could be easily solved by, let's say, if I see that if a grandma or grandpa is sending the money to someone, if the kids would get the notification and would approve that, then would solve that issue in some way. Because, I mean, as you say, we can't stand and sit next to the grandmas or even the parents all the time and try to kind of manage their finances. But at the same time, if they would, you know, add the extra layer in, or even the banks or fintechs would add the extra layer, and so that grandma could, you know, note who is the son or the daughter and who he or he trusts. And if I would just get the, you know, notification that my grandma is sending a few thousand euros to someone, I could easily stop it or call her and ask, what do you do? Why do you want to send someone this amount of money? Probably
Well,
that also would
there
help.
is, yeah, there is a bit of the ethical questions. I mean, to what extent we can control, like one adult person can control another adult person, right? And also knowing about all those transactions, and probably sometimes you don't want to talk about what you're buying, what you're doing, and everything. On the one hand, but on the other hand, I mean, probably sometimes you don't even need like. A person from the family to control transactions like this. Probably artificial intelligence and robots, like in the banks, would be enough. They are actually learning the spending pattern of a senior citizen. They're looking, okay, so here you buy grocery, here you buy whatever, like pay for the mobile phone, like communal expenses and everything. And now what is this? What are you trying to buy with this, like 500 euro or something? We're trying to send this money. And then the transaction is blocked, and then the I don't know, the robot from the bank is calling the senior citizen and asking some questions to make sure that it's like a legit transaction, not that someone is trying to fraud the senior citizen and to steal money from the senior citizen. I think in this case, the aspects of the ethics won't be an issue.
I can see that we have only a few minutes left, so I will try to wrap it up. From what findings I got during this conversation, I would say that we don't need additional ITMs in Lithuania or any other country, so that the seniors will get more, will have better accessibility to the cash, but at the same time, the people in Lithuania usually don't use fintech because they don't know enough about fintech, so they could just and at the same time, the companies also should start targeting these people or change the mentality, so they could also adapt the services for them, because it's a huge market. What are your insights?
Well, my insights that's actually there is cybersecurity is a huge issue, and those things can be additionally solved by the fintech companies or cybersecurity companies to protect the seniors, because we definitely need to protect them. And then I actually haven't thought that we could include the like government and municipalities into to some extent into extra education of seniors on like financial literacy, on digital products, on things like this, and basically who has better access to those seniors than the municipalities and different types of like governments.
Yeah, I think the municipalities definitely have it because they usually meet them, meet them and talk with them and have a contact, so they trust each other. So thank you very much, Sandra, for the conversation. I am sure that our audience learned a lot and will change the mindset towards the older people and will allow them to
Thank you very
use the
much.
services. Thank you. Thank you, Sandra.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, bye.
All right, thank you both for that very fascinating session. Hi, Viva here again. I have a couple of wrap-up questions for you. I think here in the Baltics, we can often think of just old people as just, I don't know, like we don't usually think of them as having money. Do they? Do old people really have this money to put into such investments?
Well, I think it's just a wrong mindset. When we think about who gave extra money when you were a student, probably it was your grandma or grandpa who bought the first car or who added extra to so you could get a better car, or who helped you with the first flat you bought. Usually it's parents and their grandpas.
Okay.
So I mean, they don't look very rich because I think they have that mentality that you need to save, you need to save.
Yeah.
So we definitely have a lot of socks under the bed.
As you say. One of the things I found most fascinating in the talk was the potential of using AI to talk to senior people. That if there's this assumption, which could be true, they're working on it, that old people like to talk often. Like, hey, we would rather call the Uber, rather talk like this. And that AI could enable that conversation. I mean, how do you feel about that? And do old people want to talk to an AI?
Well, I think, no, I don't think. I think we should start with natural people,
Okay.
not the robots. But at the same time, in some cases, I think that the robots will be more useful or at least more effective. And I don't think that these people understand that these are robots, because sometimes we don't understand that these are robots.
True.
So I don't think that these people any different comparing with us. It's just that we used to use the digital services far often, and we grown up with the computers while they don't. But it doesn't mean that they are not able to do that. They are. It's just that it's our perception that they can't do it.
That is interesting. It's so much about our perception, and I think a whole bunch of us in this industry really have to turn our brains around to get around it, because there's a big market there, a very big market.
Exactly.
All right,
exactly.
Viva, thank you very much for your moderation today, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the event.
All right, thank you guys. We're going to have the next session shortly.